Alright, welcome to the next chapter. So, something I'm going to go ahead and correct now is that door. This door has been bugging me for the longest time. It's so bright, it's so pristine. Right now, the way we did some of the lighting, it even looks like there's this giant, well, looks like there's a light on it. One of those ethereal kind of lights, which is pretty cool. But just not what I'm going for right now. It's visually the strongest element, which though I don't mind it being a focus of the texture, it's a little bit too strong. So, like it really stands out like a giant yeti in Hawaii. Alright, so let's begin to take care of that. So the first thing I'm going to do is get a texture, and this texture I'm going to place on top as a clipping layer of this door. So I've got my texture right here ready to go. It's very nice. Alright, where did it go? I'm going to pause this and go look for it. Well, I found it. It's right here in the wood, and the top of the wood layer set. So just drag, drop this right up here. Now what you're noticing right now is all the stones color shifted, and it's really taken on the background of the of layer 13. So everything above is pretty much taken on this layer 13 right here. The colors and everything pretty much. And this kind of flexibility, how all these pieces changed immediately, is this is using blending modes. And this is the power of blending modes. It's the power of layer masks. Well, it's the power of Photoshop. So, in order to correct this, because obviously I can't have it like this, although that would make a pretty nice wall. However, what I will do is make this a clipping mask or a clipping layer, and hold down Alt so I get that little change in icon right there. Now everything updates, and all I have is a a little stand for a door now. I'm going to zoom out in my texture here real quick. And so Control T. And I'm going to move the pivot right to the base, the center base of that door. I'm moving the pivot. Now when I hold down Alt, everything's going to focus itself right on that door. So holding down Alt is really a scale from pivot and not necessarily scale from center. Okay, so I'll create this and scale it out to something that isn't too squished looking. Alright. Hit enter to complete that. Alright, I have my texture set in place, and because I don't want it to be a sand door, I actually turned down the fill here, opacity about 66%. So we've got some sand on it, some dirt, and we can also see the door through it. Now we'll create a clipping layer between layer 13 and the door. Go ahead and name this door dirt. So select door right here, and this clipping layer will be an adjustment layer. And for this one I'll be using, let me bring this up. This one I will be using hue saturation. And what I want to do with this is turn down the saturation. And I only want to do it in parts. So I'll go ahead and copy this door dirt layer. So Control C, and select the layer mask from my hue saturation layer. Come over to channels, turn on the visibility for the channel, and then paste. And what I've got now is I actually have the grayscale value of that texture as the layer mask for the hue saturation. Now it's not a very big change right now. So what I'll do is I'll come in here, come up to Image, Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast. And increase the contrast. Oh. And increase the brightness. Turn the visibility off. So now I've got a little bit more of a spotty look on that door, and it's not a flat, like it's not all on. Got some more saturation up at the top and obviously less down at the bottom. So now the door, even though it's still a focal point given just its position and it's still a little bit more orange than everything else, it's not as strong of a focal point as it was before. So here's what it is now. And here's what it was before. Very strong difference. Alright. And because I'm having a look at this door and I feel that the dirt is hiding the door a little bit too much, I kind of do the same process I did for the door dirt layer as I did for the hue saturation one. Except I'll start from this layer mask, so I'll do a Control Select, and I will copy that. So copy this, or I actually didn't need to copy. Now that I have this selection, I'll just create my new layer mask. So already, if I hold down Shift to disable, I can see the big difference that that made. And just for minor tweaking, I'll press Control M or go to Image, Adjustments, Curves. And turn this up just a little bit. Because as it is right here, there's still a little bit too much orange. So I'll turn that up just a little bit. And one final thing I'm going to do to this door is just add some faint nicks and scratches in it, but on a larger scale. And from this, I'm going to start with, let me go ahead and clean this up real quick, just to hide this right there. What I'm going to do from here is create a new layer right up top here. So holding down Control Shift N for new layer, and I'll turn on this Use Previous Layer to create clipping mask. Okay. Now we can see that layer 13 is automatically a clipping mask, or a clipping layer of the layers below it. So what I want to do here is I'm just going to get a brush and start painting around the outer edges of this door. like there's some kind of affliction on this door. Turn this down about 49, 48%, somewhere in there. And it just adds like another level of character and detail to this door. So without these three clipping layers, and width, major difference. So now I'm going to start on a really fun part of doing all this texturing. One thing that I really enjoy doing is staggering the shadows of these boards. And what do I mean by that? Well, that's what we're about to do now. So I'll go ahead and with this door, I'll make this its own layer set. Ooh, that was the wrong button. That was Control N for new, not Control period, which is my particular hotkey for new set from linked. Call that door layers. And the shadows. So the shadows for these stones are found right here in the stone facade layer set. And more specifically, they are found right here in this layer. When I turn that off, why, that just looks terrible. It looks like there's even a light coming up from above and inside, which there's not. So we'll go ahead and turn that right back on. And what I want to do is I'm going to take this layer and duplicate it and move it right here into the wood, to the top of the wood layer set. Now something happens immediately right here, which is the layer mask is an older version, so it doesn't have this little nugget right here. So using, I'll go ahead and select that. Control Shift I to invert the selection. And I'll come back up here to select, and I will contract the selection by 10 pixels and select. I will feather it by 5 pixels, and from this point I'll just go ahead and Alt backspace, and now I've got that area knocked right out. Just make sure I'll do a little bit of cleanup in here, make sure I got it alright. A little bit too much. Perfect, not going to touch it. So now the next problem with this layer is that it's too dark. So I've taken an already dark layer and made it even darker by doubling it. So how I'm going to counteract that is I'm going to change the fill opacity down to 0%, so like it's gone, and then I'm going to create a color overlay layer effect. And this color overlay layer effect, I'll use a dark blue, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 5187, and the opacity I will set to 33%. You can kind of see a little blue stuff going on right over there. And the blending mode I will set to multiply. Alright. So now what's really important about this next step is this is what's going to create the actual shadow as separate from the shadow layer that we duplicated it from. So making sure that I have the layer mask selected here, I'll press M for Marquee Select tool. I'll take all this and using V for move, I'll move all this down. So about right there. Maybe a little bit further. I can use the up and down or left and right arrow keys to nudge. A little bit too far there. Perfect. So now that I've got these extended shadows here, this gives me room to select individual boards right here. Make sure I get tall enough. I can select individual boards, and again with the V tool, I can start pushing and pulling individual shadows. Now watch what that does. Oh. Take this board right over here. It starts making some boards recede and other boards come to the forefront. So I'll be doing this for about a minute or so. Welcome to pause and watch or skip ahead. Oh, that's the wrong. So now as I'm doing this, I'm making very sure that my selections are based on like where the actual cuts in the board are. Because that's what gives it that edge of reality. Take this board right here. See what happens. Let's see what happens when I move this down. See how that board really gets brought out? That's what we're doing. Now I'm willing to bet that these variations are so minor that as you're watching along piece by piece, it might be kind of hard to see, you know, the true impact of what it is that I'm doing. So to make sure that I illustrate the impact of this, I'll go ahead and hide the visibility here, or turn the visibility off. Back on and off. So it really is a powerful process, very powerful technique. Again, it's the summation of all the minor variations. All the little things add up, basically. All right. And now, just for the underside right down here, move this up. Just a little bit. Actually, I'll go ahead. I've got too much selected up here. And this little nook right here, take these down. And this last one, I can actually blur that out real quick. I'll just come over here real quick, use the blur tool, turn that up. There we go. Excellent. So in this chapter, this is what we had before we started. And this is what we have now.